Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We are on episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Bungo Stray Dogs 1. I'm really sad that we're over halfway done with this series. I didn't know exactly what this chibi series would be like, but it's adorable and hilarious. And I'm kind of sad that I'm on like the last stretch of it after this, so sad. But I really enjoyed this series, and we haven't seen Chibi Mori yet. I don't think we've seen Chibi Mori yet. We haven't seen Chibi Oda yet. I need Chibi Oda in my life. And if we got Chibi Guild, that'd be great. But you know what? We may not get that. So, but anyway, I really like this series. In the next reaction, the last one that we'll do for Juan, which will be episodes 10, 11, 12, I have a couple surprises I'm going to do with that reaction. There's a couple AMVs that several people have requested, and I figure we're going to round out with that. So just bear that in mind. I'll talk about that kind of at the end of this reaction discussion. But for this one, I realized in the comments with episode 12 that came out, I didn't really talk about Ivan. Oh, Ivan G. Some people on Patreon noted his name, and I was like, I really want to talk about him a little bit. So before we start, I did want to bring old Ivan Goncharov up. He was a Russian author, of course, because he's working with Fyodor. He's very interesting. He had 3 major novels that were kind of his most famous. There was Same Old Story, which I've heard of the Same Old Story. I remember that one. Oblomov, which I do not, and then The Precipice. I remember hearing about The Precipice. They were all written between 1847 and 1869. So they were mid to late 1800s. He was had served many official positions in Russia, one of which being that of a censor, which I think is interesting if you're tying to the abilities of some of these users in episode 12 being limited, like Atsushi Nakagawa's. But basically, he was born to the family of a wealthy merchant, and then as a reward for his grandfather's military service, his family got a good status in basically the system there at the time. They had a good standing socially. And then he went and served for a time for the governor's office, and then moved to St. Petersburg and worked as a translator and a private tutor, which is kind of funny because he's working for Fyodor in the episode. So it kind of ties to him being like not a tutor, but kind of working for someone. And then, so he earned European fame for his works. And then actually it says here that Fyodor, among others, considered him to be of high stature. So I find that funny that Fyodor in real life revered Ivan G as being of high status, and then in the actual show, he's working for him. So it's like, interesting. But yeah, and then Anton Chekhov actually quoted Goncharov as being, quote unquote, 10 heads above me in talent. So I'm like, interesting. So Chekhov even saying that he was like ahead of him in talent as a writer. Nice. So he lived to be 79. And then his actual ability in Bungo Stray Dogs, his ability is called The Precipice. And it is derived from the 1869 novel, one of the end of the trilogy of his famous works. And the story is about a romantic rivalry among 3 men condemning nihilism. And it's considered to be his best work, where he managed to realize the full scope of his creative ambition. So funny that, like a romantic rivalry involving 3 people, and then he's using that power in a battle against Akutagawa and Atsushi. Funny that. And then, and it's at the full scope of creative ambition. It's at the end of the season. He's one of the bad guys at the very climax of the series so far. Interesting. I think it's a very nice tie-in to a very interesting author. But yeah, I realized I hadn't talked about Ivan, and I was like, I need to talk about him before we move into these episodes of Juan. So there you go. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about Bungo Stray Dogs 1, and especially episodes 7, 8, 9. This first one's called Bungo Stray Dogs Preschool. All I can think about is Baby Muppets. When I was a kid, I had the VHS tapes of Baby Muppets, and I had the one VHS tape that I had of Muppet Babies was the one where they go into Labyrinth, and I was a massive Labyrinth fan at the time, and so it was like them making fun of Labyrinth in the Muppet Babies format, but that's the only thing I remember of it. So I'm very curious to see baby versions of all these characters. I don't know how that'll go. God, if Maury is the one running the preschool, I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to be like, nope, can't have it. Nope, can't do it. But, surely they won't do that. Surely they won't. That'd be too much. I'd be like, no, stranger danger indeed. So I've talked enough. Let's start this episode. We're going to start episode 7 of Bungo Stray Dogs 1 here in 3, 2, 1. And let's do this, y'all. So these were adorable. Oh my god, these 3 may be my favorite yet. No, they are my favorite yet. There's no question. The preschool one has been my favorite episode of the whole series so far. The preschool episode, because I was like I said, I was a big fan of Muppet Babies back when I was younger, when I was a kid. And this is just like such a play on that. But oh my god, the preschool one, there's just something about the way this show draws Akutagawa with those little, like, he has like little shrimp eyes and they're like just black and soulless, but there's something adorable about it. I don't know what it is, but it's just the way they draw him is so cute. It gets me every time. But Akutagawa in these episodes, Akutagawa just being so, he wants Dazai's affection so much, and he's so, like, Gin holding up the sign saying that her brother's really sensitive, and he actually cares a lot. It's like, oh, you're such a tsundere. And I didn't think in this series I would like Akutagawa as much as I do, but I've really come to like his character. And in these episodes, he's so sweet, and he's just trying to hide it. It's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, trying to ask Dazai and impress him, and he's like all gets sparkly eyed around him. It's like, dude, baby Rompo. I'm sorry, but little baby Rompo, he is only persuaded by sweets, by snacks. Of course he would be. And then baby Kenji, like, he eats so much and he naps and everything. These were so good. Baby Atsushi, adorable. Baby Akutagawa, adorable. Baby Rompo, adorable. Like, so cute. And the way that Mamoru voices Dazai when they do the chugga chugga the train, using the noose rope as a train, making it cutesy instead of morbid. Oh my gosh. But Odasaku Man, I wanted Chibi Odasaku. I did not think he'd be a superhero. I want that plush. If somebody has made an Odasaku Man plush, I will pay you for it. I want it so badly. I love Odasaku. And so I'm like, oh my god, the fact that he's a superhero. And this show is shipping all over the place, but I've said it before in the series and I'll say it again. I do ship Dazai, the Sokoku. I ship Dazai and Chuya, most definitely. But I also ship Dazai and Oda, for real. And so when this show is like, Dazai's like, I love him. I'm like, if this is the only time I ever get Dazai saying I love you to Oda, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. And, oh my god, and him having like all the merchandise and the Odasaku. I forget that Odasaku is redheaded. I forget he's a redhead. Dazai loves his redheads, right? He likes Chuya and he likes Oda, and they're both redheaded. Oda's is more of like an auburn. It's like a dark red, and then Chuya's is like a vibrant red. But yeah, that was absolutely amazing. And here's the thing, Atsushi being the big fan of Odasaku Man, Atsushi's the main fan, because we talked about this back in episode 12 and everything, that I think Dazai finds a connection with Atsushi in the actual series. Dazai finds a connection with Atsushi because Atsushi has that pure soul like Oda, and he wants to help people no matter what, like Oda. And so I feel like Dazai can connect with Atsushi because he sees some of Oda in him. And so the fact that this show made Atsushi being the one that loves Odasaku Man is the one that brings it up. It's like, and Atsushi's voice actor voiced young Odasaku in the Dark Age arc. It's like, okay. Adorable. Absolutely adorable. Oh my god. I love it so much. So yeah, Chuya and all that, it's great. Chuya being a chibi in there. I love all their little clothes, and I've got all my notes here that Akutagawa express, and I love at the end that Yasano's like, Dazai, you express too much. You express your love too hard. It's like, it's like Dazai tries to be emotionless in the series and like come across as he's like nonchalant, I'm too cool for school. But like Yasano says in this, Dazai cares a lot. And sometimes he cares so much that he has to distance himself so that he doesn't care too much. Because that's like when Oda died, Dazai cared too much and he left the poor Mafia because of it. So it's like, I've wanted to see Chibi Mori and Chibi Fukuzawa together, and we've not got it yet. I'm like, you've shown us our ships. You've shown us Dazai and Oda. You've shown us Dazai and Chuya. You've shown me Akutagawa and Atsushi. Lots of Akutagawa and Atsushi. but I want to see Fukuzawa and Mori. At least we got Chibi Mori. That was pretty good. So yeah, Akutagawa being sick. I'm like, oh, him actually being sick and being embarrassed because he's so frail. He doesn't want to admit when he has the flu. And Gin's like, just keep him hydrated and everything. And then Dazai coming over and Akutagawa being so excited. But then when it was Atsushi that came in first, he actually says his name. I want to say that y'all told me back in the series, I was like, will Akutagawa ever call Atsushi by his actual name? And so many of you were like, nah, it's never going to happen. Don't count your luck. Don't count your cards on that. Nah, it's not going to happen. We got it in this episode. He called him Atsushi. He called him by his actual name, his full name. If it's the only time we hear it, fine. It happened in One. I'm calling it. I know this isn't technically canon, but I'm calling it canon. He said his actual name. He was so mad. And then Dazai was like, you didn't let him finish. It's like... And then Dazai out in the woods trying to attack the dog, and it was Carl. It was the raccoon. And then Poe taking Carl and going off to see Rampo. Poe and Rampo I ship so hard now. I'm like, they are my comfort ship. It's so adorable. It's so pure. Edgar Allan Poe in this series is the most pure thing in the world, which is funny because when you think of his writing, and then Carl with him, and then he goes to see Rampo, and it's the most endearing, precious thing ever. I was fangirling so hard in these episodes. But yeah, so, and then poor Akutagawa being ignored. The dramatic music and all this is probably the funniest damn thing. These episodes remind me a lot of Way of the House Husband in terms of their comedy style. If you've ever watched Way of the House Husband, it's hilarious. But the use of music with the animation is chef's kiss. And this series is exactly like that. The dramatic, over-the-top operatic music to like Akutagawa's pained, ignored face. It's so damn good. It's so damn good. I love it. I love it so much. And then yeah, I love that they do the body double short, and I love the body double short. And Chia's like, well, they want somebody who with a comparable vertical profile, meaning someone tall enough. Which hilariously, the three best ones were, I think Gin was the best. And then Akutagawa, and then Hirotsu. They were like the best versions of him. And then Hirotsu being handsome. It's like, yeah. And Elise was like, oh yeah, sure, Hirotsu. Which Elise is part of Mori, so that's interesting. But oh my god, these episodes, they were so damn good. And then, yeah, episode 9, with the missing scalpel. Some of y'all said that there's an arc with Yasano and Mori, that there's some backstory there. Don't spoil me. I don't want to know yet, because if we're going to find out in season 4, if I'm going to find out in the manga, I don't want to know. But I find that interesting that she's missing a scalpel, and I thought it was going to tie into Mori somehow, and we were going to get into that, but... And then, shrimp handles! I'm officially going to call them shrimp handles now instead of shrimp tails, because shrimp handles is so much better. But yeah, the idea that Dazai just wanted some food. He just wanted to take the last shrimp tail, and Atsushi wouldn't give it to him. I'm sorry, but I don't know what it was. But for some reason, the way that they animate Akutagawa in his like dumb face with his big eyes and standing in front of a flower pot with shrimp tails in it, there's just something hilarious about that in the moment, it just got me. And I was like, nah, the humor in this show is on point. It's great. It is great. But yeah, Yusana trying to find the scalpel, and then the shrimp tails. And then the drawings, like the little how-to, they all had really good drawings. They all were pretty good. I loved Kyoka. Her dream is to have all of them together and be happy. And that's kind of what they are. But it's so cute. And of course, Akutagawa, of course, draws Dazai perfectly, but then he draws like a rudimentary tiger cut in half because he's like, I practiced with you first. I did my warm-up with you, Atsushi. And when they were like wrestling with their arms, I was like, okay, Atsushi, Akutagawa, we get it. Just admit y'all like each other. And then when Atsushi was like, let's play a different game called the kitty pet off, I was like, show! What we doing? And they're like, they had to cut to a cat. I'm like, you're not subtle. Subtext. The kitty pet off. I can only imagine what the fandom has done with that. I can only imagine. Well, I need to get my mind out of the gutter. So these episodes were so good. I absolutely loved them. I want to go back. I want to go back and watch them right now. That's how much I really like them. I want to go back and rewatch them because some of you have said to watch this in the dub, to watch the dub version because the dub voices are really good for this. I may have to now. I may have to go back and watch the dub version of this because I just Mamoru though. Mamoru is so perfect as Zazai that his voice acting in these episodes was so good. But Odasaku Man, I need that in my life. I may go and see if anybody's actually made one of those on Etsy. I need a Moki from Hanako-kun behind me, and I need Odasaku Man. I need those two things. I need a Moki. I would love to get, for Hanako, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, I'd love to get a Moki with the Sherlock detective hat on it. I need that Moki, and I need Odasaku Man, and it will be complete. But these were so good. These three were my favorites so far. Episode 7 and episode 8. I liked the shrimp handles in episode 9, but episode 7 was by far my favorite of the whole series so far. It was so damn good. So I am curious to know your thoughts down below, what you all thought of these episodes. I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. These were so good. Next week, we're sadly rounding out Bungo Stray Dogs 1. I'm so sad. It's already over. Sad days. But we're going to be watching episodes 10, 11, and 12 of Bungo Stray Dogs 1. And I'm eventually going to be doing a giant recap video before season 4 starts. I've had a lot of people ask me about audio dramas. So I'll talk probably a little bit more about this in the next episode. But what I'm thinking is the recap video will do like character rankings, ranking the episodes, talking about the themes, talking about the series, talking about the ships, all that fun stuff in the recap video right before season 4 comes out. And then in the meantime, I'll probably put a post out on Patreon, probably in the Discord, asking, probably in a community post, asking for recommendations for audio dramas. And I may do a giant like audio drama reaction, for those. I may do that in a couple, like in a month, after everything. I've got lots of stuff planned for January already, so my January is pretty full of stuff to do. But as we get closer to season 4, I may do like an audio drama reaction. I definitely want to do a soapbox about the manga, about leading the volumes, I think up to chapter 53. I was told through the comments, chapter 53 is where the manga cuts off for season 3 ending. So I definitely want to do a soapbox about the manga leading up to season 4, or at least maybe not do a soapbox, but talk in the recap about the manga and the light novels. But do an audio drama video. And so next week, we're going to round out with episodes 10, 11, and 12 of 1. And I've had a ton of requests to do 2 specific AMVs related to Bungo Stray Dogs. And so next week, I'm going to react to those 2 AMVs. And then we're going to finish out Bungo Stray Dogs 1. So I'm pretty excited. It'll be a nice end of the year, fun times with Bungo Stray Dogs 1. So we shall see, right? But in the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll see y'all next week with the final episode of Bungo Stray Dogs 1. Bye.